Welcome to the Hope Champions podcast with Project Harmony. I'm Hailey.
I'm Scott.
And I'm John.
Join us as we explore the science of hope and its profound impact on healing trauma, right here on the Hope Champions podcast.
Welcome to Hope Champions podcast. I'm Hailey.
I'm Scott.
And I'm John.
And today we are so excited to have our first guest on the show.
You know, John and Hailey, as I work with people in the community, sometimes people say, what's this thing with hope? And it seems so wishy-washy to a lot of people. I don't think people always know why hope is important and why we're targeting it so much in the community. So I think that's an important question we need to address in our podcast.
It is. And, that is such a great question. And I have someone here that can actually answer that question very well and give us a lot of insight on that. Today, I'm going to be having Dr. Suzi Yokely-Busby talking to us today. A lot of people in our community know her. You can ask anything about hope, and she is the one that you will need to contact. She is going to be, she is a training specialist here at Project Harmony, and she has just done a great job for us. So let's go ahead and have a conversation with her. Well, it's Jonathan Davis here, or you just call me John for short. I'm here today with Dr. Suzi Yokely-Busby, or as you can see on her license plate, Yo Buzz. How's it going today, Suzi?
Good, very good.
Cool. So let's get into it. Let's do some talk and have some conversation about hope, right? That's what we're here to talk about, and that's what we are focused on here at Project Harmony, especially on the training department and with Hope Champions Network and a number of different things. So we've talked about the definition of hope. So we hope that the community gets that and knows what it is. What does that definition of hope mean to you?
Hope is everywhere if we can teach ourselves to see it. Yesterday, I was chatting with some students at Benson High School, and we were talking about how hope sometimes is right beside us, and we don't know it. And sometimes we have to get a little broken before we have the willingness and the capacity to embrace it and take it for what it is.
So hit that hard time.
Right.
Have the tough situation come up.
Right. But to balance it, we have to realize how we get to hope. And like we do in our presentations often here at Project Harmony, is help people embrace their trauma. Because if you have a little hope bucket and I come along to put some hope in it and you already have some stuff in it, what's going to happen to the hope? It's going to fall off, or you're not going to recognize it. You're not going to be able to embrace it and say, wait, this is for me. So really, for me, the definition of hope is believing for somebody else what they can't believe for themselves.
Yeah.
They can't quite get there. And I only know that because I've been there lots of times in my life, in my decades of looking back on, like, wow, I can't say somebody wasn't there, because maybe somebody was, and I just didn't have the capacity to embrace that.
Gotcha.
Or maybe I didn't have the resilience strategies to get me to that place. Yeah. Because even if hope is there, we have to realize how to get to it. So it's kind of a step process.
Sometimes it's hard to even recognize that it is hope, or that person that's there is actually providing hope.
Right.
But maybe it could have been a number of different things that there might have been somebody there before and I gave it a shot and it failed miserably, or things got worse. So now I see somebody doing this thing that I don't want to grasp onto, but even though it's hope, I don't want to grasp onto it, because the last time I saw it or I experienced it, it went a total different way.
Right. Or in our healing process, if we haven't got to a place where we can say, I deserve this and I'm worthy of this, or we see it and it reminds us of somebody that's been in our life that we don't see as a comrade.
Yeah.
No matter how much we try to be in or out of hope, we're smack dab in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah.
And every day is an opportunity to take a deep breath and decide, am I going to be available for the hope that's available for me?
Yeah.
And as we hear in a lot of research, etc., I mean, the people that survive are the people who are willing to reach out. So When I worked in the schools for 32 and a half years, I would often hear kids say, yeah, well, I don't like people. Okay, let's drill that one down a little bit.
Yeah.
Potentially, you don't like how you feel when you're around certain people, and without intention or with intention, you overlaid that on the entire mass of humanity. And in the long run, all that's going to do is cut you off from opportunities and success. As we hear Dr. Scott Butler say all the time, hope is the number one predictor of outcomes, healthy outcomes, successful outcomes, good outcomes. So how do we create hope in ourselves so that when we are interacting with other people, we have a little bit extra we can share?
Yeah. So because of that, because that was because I think it's important to be able to ask what a definition means to somebody, because even though the definition is there, it can look vastly different from me to you.
Absolutely.
So you gave your definition, or how did that definition rings to you? Why do you say, or why do you believe that hope is important to you? Because just like we just talked about, hope can be important to someone else because it took them from that dark place.
Right.
Or they saw it save a family member, or they see that it gave them that bright future to look at, and they might have not even seen that bright future before. So there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different parts of hope that can be important to each and every individual. So, Buzz,
Yes.
why is hope important to you?
Hope is initially important to me because it makes me realize how much I took for granted as a kid. Because my parents didn't have a lot of money, didn't even have a whole lot of opportunity in small town. But that's never the read you got from them. There was never a vibe that you got from them. My dad was a postmaster. He would be 99 years old this year. He was a postmaster in a small town, and my dad was well known for whistling. He was the best whistler there could be. Right. And he knew that that was a way he could reach people with a strand of happiness. And happiness is one of our avenues to hope, right? My mom is the greatest servant heart that ever touched this earth. She's a giver to a bad place for herself. She will give and give and give and give and give and give. And that, I realized as I got older, is how they got more hope for themselves, by sharing with other people. And I definitely picked up on that. Yeah. I love to share. I love to talk. I love to interact with people. I love to help people get where they're trying to get. And sometimes get where they never knew they had an opportunity to go.
Yeah.
You know? Hope has an opposite, which is what? Hopelessness?
Yeah. Despair.
But what about if somebody never ever had hope? What if for generations it's just not been home base when they're playing tag? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you intersect in that. Well, oftentimes I've been taken for, oh, Miss Busby's so happy, la, 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 la. You know, kids would make fun of me sometimes at school, elementary. I've been in every level of school, in and out, and comrade, around partners, around schools and school opportunities. And I mean, I like to smile. I like to talk. Okay. So it's been hard over the years when I realized that's irritating to some people. Oh. It presses them to a place they don't want to be, or it makes me seem goofy, or, you know, can't make a decision, or can't get in the conversation because she's so happy, la, 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 la.
And it kind of goes the opposite, because like you said with your father whistling, and how that was a way that he can connect to people. That was a familiar sound that some folks would hear, and they say, hey, that's him coming with the mail, or hey, it's that time of day, so it can be a good thing. But it has the flip side, like you said, somebody being so positive, that might have the adverse reaction to somebody. So it's totally different.
Absolutely. So let me give you the visual that got me to a place of taking a deep breath and saying, wait a minute, this is me. And if this is what I have to share with the world. During the pandemic, I was working at alternative high school. Yeah. And I often physically placed myself near the front door in the morning, so when kids would come in, you know, if it's a good day, if it's not a good day, if it's whatever their perception is, okay, I can be here.
Yeah.
I had student, but on his way to being a grown man,
Mm-hmm.
weepy because I had a mask on.
Mm.
He said, I need to see your smile.
Mm.
Wow. I mean, there's things we do every day.
Yeah.
We don't realize the difference that makes for other people.
Yeah.
So hope comes to all of us in a different way. And I think we have to take a breath and realize, if this is something that I've gotten, if I'm running a race to hope and I got there, then my job is to teach somebody else how to get there. Even if they don't want to get there sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be heavy.
Oh, yeah. It's not an easy way. I mean, even in the helping fields, social work in general,
Mm-hmm.
we're not there to hold their hands for the rest of their
Right.
lives. We're in there to be able to help with whatever situation
Mm-hmm.
that they're going through right then and there. Show them different avenues, different pathways to be able to get to a better space, because we want that family to thrive, but we realize and we know that they don't need us to be there every step of the way, the whole entire time for them to thrive. They can function with their family perfectly fine as long as we're able just to help them, because sometimes you just don't know some things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. And it's the same scenario even in a workplace. We just use big kid words there like sustainability and accountability and support. We just switch them up sometimes in different tenures and different genres and different venues, but it really is all the same thing.
Yeah.
Working to a place where you can feel so comfortable and worthy to have that opportunity to then keep going with it.
On this show, we've talked about bright future or future memory, the memory that you want to get to, or the bright future that you see, that goal that you want to get to. Talk to me about what a pathway to that goal represents in hope when we're going out and community training these and we talk about pathways. What exactly are we talking about?
So a pathway is a way for us to get where we're going, right? We've set ourselves with a bright future. So let's say my bright future happens to be I wasn't paying any attention and I turned the wrong direction. And now I'm totally off my path. And Siri is saying, what is she saying? Return to the path or something.
I don't know what she says. I turn her off.
She says it to me a lot.
I don't want to hear it when I'm going on it.
So the point is, I already know where I'm going, right? I've already decided my destination. I know what my goal is here. So what's my pathway if I happen to turn the wrong way? Well, I could ask GPS, right? I could ask if someone's riding with me for them to check theirs, right? I could stop, pull over, and ask for directions. I could believe in myself and just follow the signs, right? The point is, you can still get where you're going, right? But you have to realize and be aware and willing to find whatever pathways that is to get there. The kids I was working with yesterday, I challenged them to a question. I said, okay, when I was your age, and they're high school kids, do you think that I had as much willpower as I do now? And they kind of looked at me, and it was this beautiful outlay of kids, many different nations represented. It was a very diverse crowd. And even the librarian in there who was doing her work, she was listening. I saw her. And I said, so do you think that from your age now, do you think you're going to have more willpower when you get to be my age? And they were like, oh, yeah, I think so. And I said, you know what? I've grown in these weeks to love and respect you guys, but I'm going to beg to differ right now. And they kind of looked at me and I said, I think you have the same willpower now in your life as you're going to have when I do, because it's there, I think, when you're born. Willpower is part of who you are. You just learn how to use it or not. And we all have that opportunity. I mean, we can all look at our life and say, academically, did I really have some successes or did I have a few wah-wah, right? How about socially? How about emotionally? How about behaviorally? How about all the different pieces of who you are as a whole child, even if you're a whole child plus 40 years, right? Do you have the same willpower when you're little as you do when you're big? I think, again, sometimes our brokenness and the things in our life that don't work so great are the things that make us dig deeper for that willpower and use that as we move into realizing that hope is the number one predictor of that. It's there for us the whole time.
And it could be as well that willpower has a different focus as well.
Mm-hmm.
From when you were a little child to when you get older, life happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot more things that come up that are more important to you now than they were then. Or maybe that you have an importance now that you did not have then.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a family to take care of or provide
Right.
for. You didn't have a significant other or a partner
Mm-hmm.
or a spouse that you had to rely on. So a lot of that willpower can change over the year. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about the Snyder Hope Scale in that particular training. And whenever we talk about it, I say that, hey, you can take this particular hope scale today and you can get your number there where you're at. And then 2 weeks later, you can take this and get a completely different number.
Right.
Because life happens,
Right.
circumstances happen, so that can change your outlook on
Mhm.
things. It may not affect your willpower, or maybe your bright future change type of thing. So whenever those things alter, that can alter as well. But yes, I believe that, like you said, that there is something that's innate within all of us that
Mhm.
we want to have
Yeah.
that.
Our needs change, our environments
Yeah.
change, our experiences change. But even if we change, we're still the same person.
Oh, yeah.
With the same capacity, as long as we're willing to build on it.
Yeah. So when you think about that, because we talk about the three parts of it, is the bright future, your pathway, and your willpower. What are some examples? Because we're talking about how hope can be within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So what's something that you have seen? Because a lot of times we rely on your expertise because you've had a lot of experience. You got to see a countless number of children from many different socioeconomic backgrounds, cultures, religions, and things like that. What are some examples, or maybe an example that you've seen of a child and how it worked out for them when a pathway was open to them, or that
Mhm.
they had a clear path to it,
Mhm.
versus a child that might have had a lot of detours on their pathway,
Mhm.
or their path was completely blocked and they had to
Mhm.
find a whole different route?
Mhm.
What are some things you've seen with that?
No, I could talk for years on
Oh, I
that.
bet you could.
I could, man.
But we don't have
Yeah.
that much time,
Come on,
Suzi.
John.
I know. On another day, we might be able to extend this.
Okay, I'll just pick. Okay, I can't pick one.
Oh,
I'll pick,
I
but
figured it'd be tough.
I'll pick one out of a bigger picture. If you
Yes.
can visualize at a graduation, right?
Yeah.
The graduates sitting in the front, but they're facing the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And visualize me standing on the stage, looking out into the crowd at all the people cheering and the balloons and hey, yeah, yelling names, and it's loud. And here's these kids looking at me with wide eyes and looks on their face like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I never been here before. I mean, you could literally see the look on their face. If they had bubbles, they were like, but behind them, I mean, the world is like on fire for them. I mean, people jumping up and
them
down.
sitting
and
in the crowd.
so they're sitting in the front
Yeah.
row of the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't see the people behind them. They can see me because
Yeah.
they're facing the stage, and I'm on the stage looking out, and I'm seeing all these things, joyous, celebratory things happening, and I see these sweet babies with their little caps and the tassel looking at me like, first of all, I didn't know I was ever going to get here,
Mm-hmm.
and second of all, you made me get here, Busby, and third of all, now what? There's an old quote that's one of my faves that we used a lot in school, and it said he called them to the edge, and they came, and he said jump, and they said, no, we can't, we're afraid. And then he called them to the edge again, and he said jump, and they said, we can't. And he called them to the edge one more time, and he said come to the edge, and they came, and he said jump, and they said we can't, and he pushed them, and they flew. And I love that picture because it sounds so scary, but there's so much ahead of us and available to us if we just are willing to have hope and train ourselves and our habits every day to choose a bright future, which might mean going to the NBA, or it might mean joining some guys after school at the park to shoot around a little, or it might just mean watching Steph Curry videos. Okay, they're all in the same strand of maybe getting better at basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my bright future every day could seriously be making sure I had gas in my car. All
Yeah.
right. What's my pathway to get there? Put an alarm on my phone, make sure I have some money put away for it, and leave for work 10 minutes early so I have time to do it. Those are all pathways and availabilities. But what's going to make that happen? Me, my willpower and my focus and my willingness and my capacity for someone else supporting me and being accountable to that. And for years in mentoring world, they've said, if every kid just has one person. But I mean, let's think about that. One's nice, but wouldn't a lot more be better, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about that is that somebody that wanted to get better at basketball, just watching videos, just having the opportunity to not necessarily watch a video, but to see somebody else do something,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to see somebody that maybe looks like me, or maybe see somebody in general having success do something,
Mm-hmm.
and giving me the opportunity to at least mimic that.
Mm-hmm.
That
Exactly.
can open up the doors for
Mhm.
so many people, because when you think about those, because one of the trainings we do is working with people in poverty. And there was a person in one of the trainings that said her son was able to play on a select baseball team. She didn't have the money to pay for him to join that baseball team, but the coach was one that said he wanted to have children have the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So he let him play either at a discounted rate or for free, and he got to go across the country on this select baseball team to see all these different things. That mother told me, and she said, there's no way he would have been able to experience the things that he experienced because I wouldn't been able to take him to
Mhm.
those things. And just being able to see different states,
Mhm.
see different cities, see different baseball teams and things like that, that can open the eyes for so many people to be able to create new bright futures
Right.
or to find new pathways. And it also can rejuvenate your willpower.
Right.
So just being able to
Right.
see different things and be exposed can be huge.
So how did that situation happen for that family? That mom
Yeah.
had a goal,
Yeah.
and she found some resources and pathways,
Yeah.
and she dug deep for her willpower. And now her son's going to be able to live in that legacy
Yes.
of doing the same thing.
Yes.
You
If
know?
she wasn't a hopeful person, she wouldn't have probably even searched for those
Right.
options.
I mean, hope seems like a, doot-to-doot, happy little squishy thing in our
Mhm.
life. But the truth is it can be very frightening to
Yeah.
step into that space and really be willing to hope. Because what if you don't get what you hope for then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So another girl that she was actually in that line of graduates, she really liked cooking. Okay. So she, among many kids, I found some resources in the community for them. I found some connections for them at college, was able to get her a full 2-year ride scholarship for Metro
Mm-hmm.
in a world-renowned culinary program. Phenomenal. Okay. Did she have some roadblocks in her pathways? Yeah. She didn't have a vehicle. Family was available to help if they could. She graduated with a beautiful 4-year-old son
Mm-hmm.
who she had to figure out, now what? How do
Yeah.
I get him in school? Where's he going to be? What if I can't do it? This is too many things. I don't know how to balance this. Busby, why are you telling me these things? What if I try them and they don't work? Okay, so we cut to the chase. Together, she and I got him signed up for preschool, got her signed up for college, went on some tours, checked some things out. Just not long ago, she emailed me some pictures of a salad with all kinds of specialty things connected, and her words were in big letters. Look at this. My new teacher at Metro thinks I'm amazing because I did this, and look how I cut the carrots, and yada, 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 yada. I mean, like
Small things.
in her niche. She's like, I love this. I can't even believe this happened. Oh, and by the way, my son, he's rocking it at preschool and just wanted to say thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
The day will come when she's like, now who was that lady that helped me?
Yeah.
But in the midst of her setting some goals and pathways, and maybe I did most of the work on those,
Mm-hmm.
but she got the idea.
Oh, yeah.
And she saw the model, and now she's living it out.
Oh, yeah.
And she's thriving, and she's going to step in the world in a sustainable process that's going to help somebody else see that.
Yeah.
Because that is an amount of willpower that she never knew she had.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we think we have to use willpower on hard things.
No.
No, we don't.
No.
Right? It's all about who who is supporting you and who you've allowed in that space. And the more that you try and you add a little hope to it, you're going to have more healthy outcomes.
Yeah. So give me an example or tell me about a time, because you are, you can think of hope and you can look at you and say, yeah, she's a very hopeful person. But we all know that you can be the most hopeful, the happiest, the most energized person, but you can be on the opposite side. You can be lethargic, you can be sad, you can hopelessness, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you tell me about a time or a season when your hope waned and that it seemed that you were at the bottom, right? And didn't seem like it was going to be any better. What did you do about that? And how have you been able to look back at that time and see how hope was there?
Hope is, again, like I said, not something you see. So I can get up in the morning and say, I'm going to make this a good day. And I get my list and I decide what I'm going to do and where I'm going to go with it, right? Except the pathways and resources that you've picked, sometimes they're not going the same direction as you. And I can think back in my life a couple times that happened when I was like, okay, and this was, of course, before I really knew about hope parameters and data. I was just living. I didn't really have all the compartments and words for it. And, And, I decided early on after I graduated from college that I think I was going to go ahead and work on my master's. Okay, so I got a job teaching elementary school in Lincoln, and I decided, okay, I'm going to take a class at UNL this time and just take a class. So I did. And I'll never forget the big red check mark that this dude put on my paper and wrote, "This is not college writing. You may need to reevaluate."
Dejection.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I kept that paper or burned it. I don't know what I did with it, but that dude just punched a hole in my heart because this is what I thought I was supposed to do. Like, I like this stuff. I like school. I liked what I was doing. I enjoyed my time at Nebraska Wesleyan, and I've kind of always had a little niche for hope. So, I loved teaching elementary school. I loved all that. But that was in 1986 when I graduated from college, and I did not take another college class until the late 90s. Mm-hmm. I allowed that little comment, to poke a hole in my little hope balloon, and
stayed there.
I was done. Yeah, it hurt. It was a burr in my side that festered, and I allowed it to tell me that I wasn't good enough.
Yeah, good enough, smart enough, articulate enough.
Yeah. And truthfully, I don't know who that guy was, but I had to forgive him because I allowed that opportunity and him. And it was just one more thing in his day, He was just checking papers. He didn't wake up and say, "Well, I'm gonna find that Busby and I'm
just ruin her next 10 years."
Exactly, right. And once I decided it, I didn't go to school then to get more schooling. I went to learn more things, and I'm very passionate about what I do now. And hope was there by my side the whole time before I knew how to call it that. Before I knew all I had to do was get up and set my bright future and find my pathways and dig for my willpower. Okay, because somehow through that potential tragedy of giving up what I wanted, I allowed that become a habit for me. Yeah. And so now I don't have to get up every day and make a to-do list about what's my bright future today. I already know what it is because hope kind of was the thing that was a padding around it, a support and a security around that I could make decisions now and pretty good ones. And I could actually help other people do that too.
And that it was there. It's just that you just, one, didn't know how to tap into it, or two, just didn't know how to use those aspects of it. You didn't know about having to think about your pathway to get there, your bright future. And sometimes we realize that that's not something that you're always going to be able to get right off the bat. You're not just going to know, because you're not going to listen to this podcast and just say, you know what, Suzi and John told me what my hope is or my bright future is. No, that's not the case. Everybody's going to have a different future, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever your bright future is, whatever your future memory that you want to make, go ahead and make that. But what we're trying to say is that we know that hope is a good factor that can help out in that. So with that, the question I have for you now, I think it's a pretty good one. I was wondering, we talk about in the training, but I want to hear from you why you think hope is contagious, right? Why is this something that can spread like wildfire? And why is it something that we're focusing on here at Project Harmony? And talk a little bit about the ebb and flow, how some days you, like I just mentioned to the Snyder, some days you'll be really high hope.
Right.
Other days you're just like, you know what? There is no hope left.
Right.
I don't know where this is going. So talk about how that can go back and forth and how it's contagious, and also who, depending on who you surround yourself with.
Right.
Because those around you can drastically change how that feels too. So what are your thoughts on that?
You know, there's a group here in town called the 100 Black Men, and they've used this mantra for so long that what you see, you will be. That always I thought was so poignant in so many ways. I mean, John, have you ever bought a car?
Yeah.
Okay. And
it's not a fun experience.
What color is your car right now?
My car right now is like a silver, like a grayish.
Okay. So I'll bet whether it's intentional or not, you notice other silver cars and gray cars when you're on the road.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
or if you drive a different car for the day. So I had to borrow my dad's Tacoma to move some stuff this weekend.
Right.
Now I'm seeing nothing but Tacomas on the road.
Right. Well, there you go. It's contagious.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a trend already in our mind that draws us toward things that we focus on. Makes sense, right? I mean, like if you decide you're not going to drink soda anymore or for a few months, you will notice every soda on every picture, on every person that's walking by you, because we trend without meaning to toward those things.
Yeah.
And hope is contagious because even if you decide, blah, I'm just going to be grumpy today, but somebody's laughing and having a good time and carefree and you're drawn toward that.
Yeah, you can't help.
Right. But just like laughter would be similar to resiliency. Resiliency is what stands in between moving from trauma to hope. Laughter and all those things are actions. But the truth is, if you allow yourself to listen to and watch yourself and how you respond to those kind of things, kindness, joy, helpfulness, humility, those are the kind of things that make you just take a deep breath and say, well, I got that too. Yeah. We have all those things. We just don't always use them. And sometimes we allow circumstances to, I say this sometimes when I'm out chatting with folks, we can take a situation and visualize it as a small mountain. And we walk around all day, both hands in the air, trying to hold that mountain up, right?
Yeah.
Just put it down and stand on it, right? It actually is a foundational move. Or you can walk around mad at everybody and exhausted because you're carrying this thing around, right? Yeah. So if you've been through a lot of trauma and you haven't been able to process it and let resiliency help you move on and let go of it, sometimes what we show to other people isn't the same thing as we have opportunity to, if we could get through that. Just like me saying, I come to you and want to put hope in your hope bucket, but you got a bunch of other stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we just can't quite get to it. It's right in front of us and we're grabbing and we're grabbing and we're grabbing. And I mean, that can get exhausting. So how do we get past that? We take a breath and we decide on what our bright future is. And that might just be getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Or it might be becoming the mayor. I don't know.
Right. There is no right or wrong bright future.
No.
Whatever yours is, no matter what, is what you can look forward
and
to.
Pathways and resources are going to be for each one of them. You know, I am so blessed that I would say every day I at least get one text or phone call from an old student or somebody that I've mentored over the years. And to stand back now and watch who they are. I mean, violence prevention in Omaha, foster parents, teachers, trainers, everything you can think of. But the best part is I see hope in them.
Yeah.
And it makes me just think, okay, I'm really thankful for the things that I went through that were not so great sometimes, and the things that were really great sometimes, but that it pressed me to take a little bit of that and pass it on. Like I joke, I love being a trainer here for Project Harmony because I feel like I'm in a Smurf movie and I'm holding the priceless information and I have to run through the forest, right? And dodge the trees and all the things because I have to get this to other people. I have to. Like it's part of who I am. It's my journey right now. I've been able to put my community hat on again and think, wait a minute, in a few weeks, a month, we train how many?
Oh,
A
close to
lot of people.
25,000.
And if every one of them actually took a nugget of hope and passed that on to somebody else, I mean, imagine we're driving. What do you do in an airplane? Flying in an airplane, right? Over the city. And we look down and every place that has a bit of hope is a light. Imagine what Omaha looks like then, right? Probably different than what we take in conversation or the news, etc. in a day. But that doesn't mean it isn't there. We just have to train people to have awareness that it is there.
Yeah.
That's actually tangible.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a very, very strong and important statement because I believe a lot of people that are listening may know what hope is. Maybe they've been through our trainings, but it doesn't matter that you go through it because you might be having a certain situation at home right now that, yes, it's very unique to you, but we still want to just make sure that you understand that there are surrounding yourself with very hopeful people can lead you out of that dark space, that can give you something to look forward to. And just having that can get you out of a number of different situations.
And how can we gain more resiliency on how to get there? Because I might get to solutions and well-being different than you do, John,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There's different avenues of coping for each of us.
Yes.
There's different avenues of confidence.
Yes, we
and
grew
of
up differently.
competency.
We grew up different. We
Right.
have different people around us in our corners.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean that even though we come from two different backgrounds, that we still both can't get to our bright future.
Right.
And that's the point.
My last job, when kids would come in, we register them. I would say, so, hey, you want to go outside and race? And they go, yeah, right, miss. Yeah, I'm not racing you. Well, I joke with them. Why? You calling me old? What do you mean? No shade. But no, you can't beat me, miss. You can't. I will beat you every time. If you and I went out and raced, I would win. They're like, how? I know where the goal line is.
Mm-hmm.
It's my race.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get to the finish line. If you want to come with me, come on.
Mm-hmm.
The point of that, and some kids, it would take a year, 2 years. They would come back and say, I finally figured out what you were talking about, right? You can't win a race unless you have your bright future set at the end and you have your eyeballs on it and you're willing to take whatever path it is to get there and ask for any resources that there are and use your willpower.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is hope.
Yeah. I don't think y'all realize that we were just in Dr. Suzi's classroom. So take advantage of it. I hope y'all were taking notes. I am, because I'm always looking forward because that's where my feet are pointed. So thank you, Suzi. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I talk to her every day just because we're in the same department, same team. But it's always good to sit down and have a conversation about something that's very important to our community.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, John, for leading that conversation with Suzi, one of our very best.
Yes, she is.
She really is. We're going to end each of these episodes when we have a guest with whatever our takeaway was from the episode. So, Scott, do you want to start?
Yeah, one of the things that really stood out to me when I was listening to Suzi is she talked about this idea of having to have space for hope in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes if we have trauma or if we have so much going on in our life, it's almost like we don't have space to be hopeful. And that really resonated for me. So when I think about my own life and my takeaway this week, I really want to make sure I'm creating that space to be open to what I need to do to be hopeful, to think about my goals, to think about agency and even to take time to think about what do I want my life to be?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I would say is kind of like with that, Scott, is that there is so many different ways that hope can look like. Suzi gave so many great examples of times where she was able to instill hope in individuals, and each person has their own unique story. And with those uniqueness, that means hope has to be malleable and be able to form a different way around each person. So it was great to hear Suzi be able to explain that and show how it doesn't just fit one mold and that they can be used in so many different ways. And that's very important to me because as me as a training specialist, there's a lot of times we're going out and speaking to a number of different individuals, and they come from different walks of life, different backgrounds, and we'll have people come up to us right after the training and ask us specific questions. And we have to be able to put it in a way and frame it in a way that they can understand. We want them to leave feeling that they got something out of it, and that even though we were talking about overarching ideas, that there is specifics that we can put into their life as well.
I really liked one of the stories, because Suzi has stories for days, which I love. But one of the stories she told that I really enjoyed was the one of a girl who she kind of helped her go to cooking school or kind of figure out what culinary school to go to, knew that she really enjoyed cooking, and how she came back later and thanked Suzi, and she showed some of her work and was just really proud of what she was doing. I thought it was a really good example of how even though Suzi kind of led her to that pathway, in the end it was that girl who took control.
To follow the pathway.
Yeah, she had to follow the pathway. She had to take her own agency, and she got so much reward in the end from it. Yeah. And it's just stories like that are just very motivating, and it's cool to hear. Another thing we're going to share at the end of each episode that we try to ask each of our guests is, what is giving you hope lately? With there's always negative things in the news and just in people's lives that you hear, and so many different troublesome stories and things like that is hard to navigate. And especially, so for an example, just around the holidays, that you can see so much good that's going to be done for the community. So seeing hope, seeing those families being able to get the help that they need. We see so many people come through our doors here at Project Harmony, coming in and having a certain outlook. And then once they leave, seeing that positivity or seeing that light that they know that something can come from it. So when I see families leave here, they can leave in a number of different emotional states, but just leaving knowing that they got the services that they need and the help that they need, that's pretty motivating for me, and knowing that the work that I'm doing is very important.
What's bringing me hope right now is an email we received at Project Harmony the other day. And that was from somebody who had attended our Hope Champions training and sent a message to say, here's how I'm using it. And I'm really finding it helpful in the work I'm doing with kids and families. And knowing that what we do is valuable to people and it's resulting in the way they're changing the way they work. Yeah, I find great hope in that.
Kind of similar to what you were talking about, John. I do a lot of the video work here, and I've been working on a big project, and a lot of it involves client testimonials, and those can be really kind of heavy, difficult to kind of go through. And when you're editing a video, you're kind of watching it over and over again. But I've really loved putting like the endings together of where they're at now, who helped them get there. A lot of them say things like, I'm still healing. I still have a long journey ahead of me, but I've made so much progress. And the fact they can even recognize that and feel more positive about it. Yeah. That really, I think for the work we do here, that we see that's done here, it gives me hope, because it's easy to just surface level be like, this is depressing.
Yeah. And you're following their story the whole time.
Yeah.
You get to see it from start and how it finished.
Right. But then when you kind of zoom in closer and you see all the progress that's being made and the fact that they are getting help, and going on their healing journey.
Yeah.
I
That
think is really
despite what
great.
happened to them, they can
Mhm.
see a bright future.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We will see you in the next episode.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Hope Champions podcast with Project Harmony. For more information about the podcast or how to become a Hope Champion in your community, visit our website at projectharmony.com/hopechampions. Listen, rate, and subscribe to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Keep up with us and the rest of Project Harmony on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Project Harmony, and on X at Project Harmony 2. See you next time.